Okay, good morning. Let's try this again. We're having some technical difficulties. We're gonna blame it on the rain, and not me knowing what I'm doing. Um, Good morning. Is part 4 on Sober Saturday, and today is Q&A. So I'm starting over. Um, Someone sent me a text telling me to. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get it together here. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Guys, if I do something wrong, please. Or not something wrong. I'm just still trying to, something is not showing up to show me how to. Okay,
Oh,
Kim, I need to take you off of that, correct? Yes. I hear you laughing at me. Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, well, hi. This is Sober Saturday, part 4. I've done this all month. It's been an opportunity and a privilege to come to you live. And thank you so much for supporting me and tuning in and sharing the videos and the images. Um, it couldn't have been possible or successful as it has been without your cooperation and your support. So I thank you very much. Um, today is Q&A, question and answers. So please, if you can, share it now. If not, I will post it on my coach sobriety page, and you can share it then. Good morning, good afternoon, Miss Knox. Thank you for waving at me. Let me know we're there. Okay, we're rolling now. For some reason, I don't know how to share it now, so I'm not going to keep pushing buttons and messing it up. I will share it on my page later as soon as I finish, and then you can share it as well on your page. Um, Please send me your email addresses. You can message me or you can post it today. I want to add you to my email mailing list so that I can give you announcements on future projects and endeavors. I have some things that I'm working on, and I just want to keep you updated about them monthly or bi-weekly, etc., etc. Also, um, I need your feedback. I welcome your feedback. Let me know what was good, bad, comments, opinions, suggestions, whatever you feel as though you'd like to share about this series. Please go to Bridget Bass, sobriety coach, and you can see my coaching page on my regular page because I post on both pages. I'll post it on my sobriety page, and then I'll share it on my personal page. Good morning, or good afternoon, I'm sorry. Good afternoon, everybody's here. People are coming in. Okay, so it must be working now. Um, so please go in and give me your feedback if you would like to. Some people have texted me and messaged me personally, but for others who have not, and those who have given me your feedback under reviews on Bridget Bass Sobriety Coach, thank you very much. All right, let's get started again. The first question someone asked me was, why are you doing this? What made you want to do this? And the reason in my mind is that people are suffering in silence every day. They're suffering in silence every day. Many are ashamed of being an alcoholic. Many don't know that they are an alcoholic. They just know that they drink and they have. I'm sorry, it says your video is blocked because it may include something. Can you guys still see me? Okay, good deal. All right. And people are suffering in silence. They're not aware of it, or people, sweeping it under the rug, or they just don't take it seriously. But alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. Thank you, Sarah. And um, it's destroying us. It's destroying our communities and the people that we love, and the people that have loved ones who are abusing alcohol or who are alcoholics. They suffer as well. This is One person may have it, but it's a family disease. And I posted an image like that. So my reasoning for doing this is that I've always had a very bold and bodacious and boisterous, aggressive nature. That's just always how I've been. And it used to be very abrasive, where, you know, whatever if it came up, it came out. However I thought it, I said it. No, nothing. It didn't matter, whatever. You take it or leave it. But through my recovery program, I've learned now how to speak from a place of love and compassion and care for others. So I kind of combined the two and said, hey, I'm going to put it out there, and we're going to start these courageous conversations so that we can get it out in the open. Johnny Taylor has a song, an old song that says, everybody, you know, let's put everything out in the open. So that was my reasoning for doing this. It's a form of my service work to help others any way that I can, because if I can save or work with one person or share something or say something that will plant a seed to help save someone else from alcoholism, then it's well worth it. So that was my reasoning for starting this. This is only the beginning. I'm excited about stop drinking the alcohol, because it says alcoholism. The alcohol is gone, but I still have the isms, the things on the inside of me that kind of go crazy whenever they want to in my mind. And I have a habit, like I said, to start a lot of things, all these great projects, and I never finish through, or I either overload myself with too much and then I become stressed out, etc., etc. But this one, I started it and I brought it to the end of this phase, because again, this is only the beginning. The second question was, what did I do to get sober and how am I staying sober? Well, the answers that I give you is for both questions, because the same thing that I did to get sober is the same thing that I'm currently doing to stay sober. And if I want to continue to be sober, then I will continue to do the same thing, because it's either I'm working on my recovery or I'm working on my relapse. And for me, I don't want relapse to be a part of my story. So I have to make sure that I do everything that I need to do to stay sober. One of the first things I did was just, admit that I was an alcoholic and stop living in denial, playing in games with my own self, once I finally realized it. Then I started to, I learned the difference between religion and spirituality, because there is a difference. And although I had a relationship with God and I knew who Jehovah God was, and I tried to do things according, but I really wasn't on the right path. It was just like a bunch of pieces of puzzles floating around here and there, and I would grab one and try to work on it, and when it didn't fit, I'd chunk it back away. Well, once I is the key. That's a big part of it. That kind of like brought everything together. And then when I started building my relationship with Jehovah God, then the pieces kind of started to fit and frame and cement together for me. I got with a treatment plan that is uniquely designed for me. My treatment plan is for Bridget. And although it may have some similarities to other alcoholics treatment plan, it's designed just for me. So, and I continue to do. I still work my treatment plan. I still work my STEP program. I started being around other alcoholics or other people who were abusive to alcohol, because I have said and will always say, I'm blessed to have such a great support with my friends and family and sorority sisters and etc., etc. But it's nothing like being around someone else who's suffering with the same thing I do, because it's like we understand each other better and we need that support from each other. I do daily devotionals. I have a Bible app on my phone, and it has different plans under it, and you can like search for different things that you're struggling with, or different things that you want to improve or get better in. And I work on those plans. Either I work by myself or I work with somebody else, and we communicate and we talk it over. So it's just another way to help cement my foundation. Something else, my prayer life has increased tremendously. I do a gratitude list every day. Every night I do a gratitude, because gratitude and complaining can't stay in the same space. It's either you're grateful. For me, I have to say, for me, it's either I'm grateful or I'm complaining and whining about something. I used to say, oh, you want some crackers to go with that wine? You know, you want some cheese to go with that wine? Because if things aren't the way that Bridget wants them to be, then I have a tendency to be uneasy. So to combat that, I had to learn how to stay in gratitude. And when I feel myself with those isms coming up, because again, alcohol wasn't the problem. It's the isms within Bridget that is the situation and the issues. And once I feel those coming, I had to learn how, once those start to rise up in me, that I need to put something inside of me or rely on something to combat it or to fight it away. And that's usually, most of all, the Word of God. That's what I do. And when I can find gratitude in everything or anything, big, literal, or small, good or bad, then I'm able to force and move that type of feeling out. Working with others. What I'm doing now is not only helping others, but it's also helping me. I've often heard that in order for you to keep your sobriety, you have to share it with others. I have to give it away. So that's a part of it. I do a lot of reading. One of the books I read, and I'll put all the things that I'm talking about in my under comments. One of the books is Drop the Rock, and it's by Sarah S. and Todd W. And it talks about how I can work on my isms, the things and the character defects. I just ordered a book, and we talked about it last week, because the question was, are there any African American authors that have written about their sobriety? And from the research that one of my friends did, thank you very much, Denise, so far we've only come up with one book, and it's titled I'm Black and I'm Sober, and that's by Chancey Allen. And so I'm in the process of reading that. Something else I do, I try to work in organizations where I'm able to do some of the behind the scenes work to make things run, so that people who are abusing alcohol will have somewhere to come when they need help, or when they decide, or they have questions, etc., etc. But what I've learned is that what I did 6 months in my recovery, and as a matter of fact, today I make 2 years and 8 months on today. I think it's like 31, 32 months. What I was doing at 6 months is not enough to sustain me at 32 months. So just like when I was drinking, when I started to drink, I'd have a glass of wine, a cup of this, a cup of that, and I was buzzing, I was good. But as time progressed and I went further and further into the different stages of alcoholism, I had to increase the amount of alcohol that I needed to get my buzz. Well, it's the same thing with my recovery. 3 months, 6 months, 31 months, I have to increase my amount of activity and the things that I do to help keep me sober. Because again, if I'm not working on my recovery, then if I'm not intentionally working on my recovery, then I'm subconsciously working on my relapse. And again, for me, relapse does not have to be a part of my story, as long as I put the work in 24/7, 365 days a year, weekends, and holidays. It's consistent. It has to be in order for me to stay on this journey of recovery. The next question is, a lot of people ask this, what are the characteristics of someone who abuses alcohol? What are the characteristics of someone who abuses alcohol? How do you, because, sometimes there's a difference between someone being a heavy drinker or an alcoholic. There's a thin line in my mind. I'm just only thinking and speaking from my perspective. But I do know once you cross that line, or once that line is crossed, you can't go back. Once you go into becoming or being an alcoholic, you cannot go back to be a casual drinker. It's just like once a cucumber is turned into a pickle, that pickle can never be a cucumber again. It is what it is. And so I recognize that. So I did some research and Googled some stuff, and I found just tons of questionnaires and checklists about how you can tell if someone is abusing alcohol. And I'm not going to read you everything, but I will post it on my page for your resource, and you can go in and check it for yourself. But I'm going to go over some of them. Does drinking or being hungover interfere with daily activities? Does your loved one who's abusing alcohol or struggling with alcohol skip activities so that they can drink? Do they have a hard time stopping after they started drinking? Whew, that was me. That first drink hit my lips, it was off to the races. I used to tell myself all kind of crazy stuff. Oh, I'm just going to take $20 so I can have 4 drinks, or I'm just going to drink wine tonight, or I'm just going to drink beer. Yeah, right. I lied. The lies we tell, that did not work. Once I started drinking, I wanted to drink till the lights went off, and then I'd leave and go to the after hour club. So it just didn't work. Are there legal problems due to drinking? Yes, ma'am. Faced all of those. PIDWI, SR 2020, 22. Jesus, just acronyms. Do they take longer to feel the effects of alcohol when drinking the same amount as other people? Ooh, that's a good one. Do they take longer to feel the effects of alcohol when drinking the same amount as others? If I was drinking a glass of wine and somebody else was drinking a glass of wine, that wasn't going to do it for me. I had to have something else to get where I needed to be. Do they insist on always doing something, and like walking the dog, or trying to get away from a conversation that you want to have with them about alcohol or about their drinking? Is your relationship suffering because of their drinking? Do they overreact to simple requests that change their routines? If you ask them, well, how about you not drink tonight? Or how about you limit your drinking? Or don't take that drink before you leave home? Do they overreact to that and become very defensive? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't one little old drink ain't gonna hurt me. I've been drinking and driving. I got this, etc., etc. Oh, that's things I used to tell myself. Is there missing time or missing money, or the abuse of money, inappropriate spending, emotional spending? Is there missing time? Yeah, there was some times when I drank and I would try to go back and fill in the gaps. Most of the time I was unsuccessful. Are they hiding their drinking or the amount that they drink? Oh, girl, I'm good. I ain't had but a couple of drinks, and you had 3 before you left home, 1 on the way, a flask in your purse, and you taking swigs in the bathroom, etc., etc. If they have a drink, can they walk away and leave it half finished? If they have a drink, can they walk away and leave it half finished? And I'm laughing because every question that I read, I reflect back on myself. And it's like, no, very seldom did I leave, if any times, did I leave some alcohol in a glass. That was like, no, the alcohol costs too much. Can't be wasted. Oh my goodness. My mindset was so whopped, Jesus. Thank you. Whew. You know, I just wouldn't leave it there. Didn't want you to leave yours. You know, don't leave that drink in that glass. You better drink that before we go. Take it with you. Take it with you. Do you feel ashamed or guilty about their drinking for your loved ones? Do you feel ashamed or guilty about their drinking? And one of the last ones, do they black out or forget what they did when they were drinking? For me, every question that I asked, the answer was yes, yes, and yes. So I'm going to post that specific one on my page, and I'll share it so you guys can see it and have it as a reference. Someone just sent me let me finish this first. What's about that? Someone just sent me a question that said, do you think alcoholism can be linked to mental illness? I think I've seen where it goes together. Like for me, I don't know if anxiety is considered as mental illness, but I've always had anxiety. And I said once before, when I was drinking, I took medication for my anxiety. But once I found out that I couldn't drink and take it, when my doctor informed me of this, then, you know, of course, I made the smartest decision possible for myself. I stopped taking the medication because I wasn't about to stop drinking. I do think there is a connection. I've listened to a lot of sisters and brothers that are in recovery with me, and I hear them talk about their struggle with mental illness and alcoholism. I may think that mental illness may come first, and I'm not an expert. This is just my personal opinion. And to deal with the mental illness or some of the things that they're struggling with, they use the alcohol. And that just makes the whole situation even much more complicated, damaging, and dangerous. I saw another question. I thought I did. Oh, that was that one. Yes, I did find out why I drank, and that's another tool that I use to help me stay sober. I started therapy. I had to go, and I have the best holistic therapist in the country, in my opinion, because she kept it real. As a matter of fact, she was one of the first people to tell me from a professional point of view that if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you're going to kill yourself, your organs, etc., and you're just in a mess. But of course, you know, I blew it off and lied and said this, and I'm going to work on it. And I did try to work on it for about 2 months. And then I was off to the races again. But yes, counseling is continuous in some shape, form, or fashion in order for me to be successful and to stay on this road of recovery. Because again, alcohol wasn't the problem. Alcohol was the solution to problems that I didn't even know I had. I had been pushing stuff back, and oh my goodness, things that had happened that I didn't know how to deal with in my younger years. I had pushed them so far and packed them so neatly and stored them and just pushed them over the years until I just had a mind and a spirit full of stuff. And I didn't even know that I was using alcohol to cope with it. I just thought I liked drinking and partying and having a good time. But I crossed that line a long time ago. From being a enjoyable drinker into an alcoholic. I crossed that line a long time ago, and I continue to. Therapy is definitely a help because it pulls out and it makes me discuss. It gives me an opportunity to dig deep and discuss the whys and the hows and what my part in it is. What my part in it is. That is important because some things, I didn't have any control over. It was just the situation and the circumstances. But how I responded to it or reacted to it is key, because whatever it is, I can't continue to keep that blame on that other individual, because that builds up resentment, and that's a struggle again. So yeah, therapy was great. I agree that alcoholism is a form of self-medicating. It is a form of self-medicating, and it was not healthy for me at all. And it's not healthy for anyone else. And I remember every time I had a symptom or I got sick and I would Google something, what are the do's and don'ts? Everything said, number one on the list was no alcohol. And I'm like, dang, I can't drink for nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And I would go head on because I was not willing to let my alcohol go. That was my best friend. That was my road dog. When you are discovering or running the thoughts around in your mind about your loved ones being abusive to alcohol, and if they're crossing a line or if they have crossed the line, helping versus enabling is really important. And if you're the person on the outside looking in, and I'm going to also post that and make myself a note on my page as well, some characteristics of, or some things. I talked about that last week about the difference between enabling and helping the abuser, the person who's abusing alcohol. Prayer works. Continue to pray for them, continue to pray over them. And most importantly, I would say for the person who's on the outside looking in at someone who's abusing alcohol, go get yourself some help, because there are programs out there, and I'll repost it again, that will help you help yourself as you walk that journey with the person that's abusing alcohol, because there are things that you need to know. There are things that you need to learn how to deal with, and it makes the world when you are around others, or at least for me it does. It means the world to me for me to be around others who are suffering and dealing with the same thing that I am, because I can pull strength from them. They can pull strength from me. They talk about things that makes me think, oh wow, I never thought of that like that. It comes from a different perspective. So I would say, make sure that you take care of yourself and get the services that you need. Yes, I did stop. There were different times throughout my alcohol career where I would take breaks and stop. Either I was scared for my health, or I just felt like, I need to dry myself out. But I eventually went back to it. And that's when I had to learn that, after someone shared with me, when you say that you're through drinking, as an alcoholic, you can't give yourself an out. There is no going back. I can never be a casual drinker, period, in any shape, form, or fashion. So I'm grateful for having that information given to me up front of my pathway when I first started into my sobriety. That was told to me. What about people who think they're not like the people in the programs? Well, one of the biggest things I've always heard is that look for the similarities, don't look for the differences. When I started my program or my treatment program, and I listened to other people talk about, and that's why these conversations like I'm having and I'm telling my story, people need to hear this. People who are struggling with alcohol or have loved ones who are struggling with alcohol, they need to hear this so that they can hear the similarities. Oh, wow, that sounds just like me. Oh, wow, I didn't do it quite like that, but I did it, you know. So you look for the similarities and you be like, well, wait a minute. You know, if they done said 9 things and you have 9 or 12 things that are similar to them, then you have some things going on that needs to be addressed. Yes, I always knew when I was overloaded, and I would give myself a break and clear my mind, and then I'd start back drinking again. And then I switched from one stage of alcoholism to a higher stage of alcoholism, and I stopped taking breaks. Now, again, I wasn't the type of alcoholic who drank every day, but when I did drink, I overdrank. I abused alcohol. 1 or 2 drinks wasn't gonna get it for me. I was gonna drink until I couldn't drink anymore, until I got the feeling that I wanted to get, and then some. So I used to, at the beginning, the early stage of my alcoholism, when I was in college or right before Marquel was born in my middle 20s, I knew that I needed to, dry my body out and give myself a break so I could, be healthy, etc., etc., spiritually, mentally, and physically. But by the time I got in my 30s and my 40s, that was not my mindset. I mean, I may not drink on that weekend, but you can rest assured if that Thursday night of the following Thursday night was coming up and I went somewhere, I was going to make up for the weekend that I didn't drink. That was for sure. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just the way that I did it. It was just my nature. It was the process that I was a part of. How do you feel once you went on a drinking bender, and did that make you want to stop? No. I, I said once before that I really never had a hangover like that, throw your guts up, you sick and nauseated and can't move type of hangover. I may have had those once or twice a year. But when I did drink and I would drink too much, it didn't bother me the next day at first. Stage 1, I didn't know it. Stage 2 and 3, it didn't bother me. I was like, okay, you just drunk too much. Okay, not even, don't try to drink too much the next night or the next time. I just blew it off and got up and started back my day and went on about my business. It didn't bother me. It wasn't until stage 4, the end of stage 3, the beginning of stage 4, when I really started to kind of question myself, like, wait a minute, now you drunk a lot last night and you did this, that, and the other. And what's going on with you? It wasn't until I started kind of checking myself and realizing that something is a little different about you. That's when my conscience started to kick in, and I started to feel embarrassed or sorry about how I acted the night before, or what I could remember about how I acted the night before, or even the fact that I could not remember how I acted the night before. It wasn't until stage 3, the end of stage 3, going over into stage 4 of alcoholism, when that it started to bother me. Because you have early stage alcoholism, middle stage alcoholism, the late stage, then you hit rock bottom. And it wasn't until late, middle 40s, late 40s, over until 56, that I kind of started to check myself and started to have a conscience about it. Things that I use to try to make myself stop, other than me wanting to stop because I needed to stop, or I knowing that I was going to kill myself or kill somebody else or continue to hurt my friends and family, none of that worked. You would think a DWI would make me stop drinking. You would think that me having that machine on my truck would make me stop drinking. You would think a PI, a public intoxication, and all the money that I had to spend for lawyers and the court systems and counseling, etc., etc., you think that that would make me stop drinking, but guess what? It didn't. The liver disease that's in remission now, you would think that that would make me stop drinking. You would think a normal person would say, golly, Bridget, what else do you need to do? You know, don't you see that you're at your rock bottom? Well, no, I didn't see, because I didn't feel as though it was a problem. I just felt like, well, if I stop for a little while, I'll be okay. I'll stop for a minute and I'll be okay. Or I was scared and I'm like, let me stop this. I'm not going to drink right now, you know, but I'm not going to drink right now. You know, I wasn't willing to walk away from it clean and say, I'm done, I'm over with. I kept dibbling and dabbling and going back. It's just like a sore. You know, if you wait till that sore gets is trying to heal and you keep bumping it and picking at it and pulling at it, it's never going to heal. It's just going to keep being re-injured and reopened, and then you experience everything all over again. My rock bottom was that Friday night. And usually when I hear the terms rock bottom, I think of something drastic, being hit by an 18-wheeler. That wasn't even my rock bottom. I got away with it. You know, I wasn't tested that night, so I didn't really have any consequences. That's not even the night I got my DWI. My rock bottom was a subtleness. And it was the night that I went out the Friday after Thanksgiving in 2017. I went out with some friends, and I was living in Katy then. So I had already kind of started to slow my roll down as far as being in them streets and doing this, that, and the other. But, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a few drinks and, you know, stay a lady and have a good time. I got my girls with me. You know, they're going to watch out for me. They was watching out for me, but I was watching out for myself more than they was, because the first 40 minutes that we were at the establishment, I had 4 drinks. And if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them, if not all of them, were doubles. So I was already overloaded just that quick. And I always use the scenario of a bathtub. My body is the bathtub, and when I fill it with water, once the tub is full, it overflows. There's nowhere else for the water to go. That's when I'm drunk. That's when I'm inebriated, intoxicated. Once my body size changed, I lost weight. I wasn't able to hold that much alcohol, but in my mind, I thought I could, so I continued to drink. Well, we went to the next spot, and I was lit. I was toasted. Drop Dead Gorgeous now. You know, I'm always look good and smell good, but I had that glaze, or my friend explained to me that I had that glaze in my eyes, that drunk look that I could not, I don't even remember. I remember going to the second spot, and I remember kind of walking in and somebody was trying to talk to me or something, and I was just kind of sitting there like, you know, just checking out the scenery, maybe bobbing and weaving. And then when we got ready to go, I never was a stumbling drunk. It wasn't until my very end of my stage 4 when the alcohol became just way too much for my body. And we got on in the car and we came on home, and then the next morning, someone who I love dearly, and we've been friends, oh God, since Prairie View, brought it to my attention. You know, they were like, I've never seen you. We have lived together. We've been roommates. We've partied. We've went out. I've seen you get tipsy, but she explained to me that I've never seen you look like that. And she shared some other things with me. Well, you know, by now I'm in the bottom of stage 4 of my alcoholism, of being, you know, close to just like what's going on in my conscience. And I never will forget it. It was something on a thought in me that said, If you don't stop drinking now, you never will. You're either going to kill yourself or you're going to kill someone else. And for me, as you would think that the DWI and all the other stuff would do it, but something so still and so quiet, that was it. I made my mind up. And I thought that I was just going to take a break from drinking. And that's when someone explained to me that if you say you're going to stop drinking, then you have to be true to that. You have to stop drinking and never go back to it. Because if you say you're an alcoholic or you think you're having trouble with alcohol, abusing it, then you won't ever be able to drink again. And that was my rock bottom. Please, someone logged in a few minutes ago, sent me a text saying they were having problems sharing it or finding me. I will post it because I'm scared to push anything. I don't want to mess it up. I will share this on my page. It is on my personal page, but I will share it to my sobriety coach page, and you can see it that way. Please share this. Go to my Bridget Bass sobriety coach page and look at the images, like them, share the things on my page, because that's a way of, every time you share it, it goes out to a different group of people. And just so happens one of those people share it, then it goes to a different group of people. So that's the purpose of Sober Saturdays in the month of July, to spread the word, to get it out so people can start having the courageous conversations about alcoholism. Because again, there are many people, and I was a functioning alcoholic. I didn't look like an alcoholic. You know, everybody's not stumbling down the street, with a paper bag in their hand and a bottle of Ripple, drinking. People, or some of them are professionals, and we're not bad people. We just have a disease. Alcoholism is a disease. It is a dis-ease in our bodies, and we have an allergy. Thanks, Kim, for sharing. We have an allergy to alcohol. So when people try to offer, who don't know, and that I am an alcoholic, and they try to offer me something to drink, I just don't know, I'm allergic to it, and I kind of laugh and go head on. Yes, Sarah, I agree with you. It was the subtle, the quiet voice of the Holy Spirit speaking to me, and I'm glad that I was able and obedient to listen, because I really believe without a shadow of a doubt that if I had to continue to drink at the rate that I was going, knowing that my body could not physically handle the alcohol, that I would have done some bodily damage to myself and possibly somebody else on them streets, drinking and driving, not remembering how I got home and all that old kind of stuff, and then my family and my friends would have been the ones to suffer as well. Next question. Oh, wow, that's all of my questions. Let's see what else we have. Oh, wow. Many are professionals. Surgeons show up for surgery cases. Man, this alcoholism is a serious situation. And if our society does not start to recognize alcoholism for what it really is, it's going to really continue to take a lot of people out of here, and it just does not have to be like that. There are so many programs and so many resources out there, but people have to come. Acceptance is the key for me. Once I accept it, Bridget, you got a problem. Something ain't right. Stop playing now. You too smart for this. You got this degree, that degree, whatever. But yet you can't figure out that something's not right about you. Once I got past all of that, and the shame of feeling like, what are people going to say about me once they know? Now it's like, girl, please, or whatever. If I wasn't ashamed of some of the things that I did in the midst of my addiction, then I'm definitely not ashamed of discussing it now. I discuss it boldly and vivaciously. I'm excited about telling the story of my alcoholism and my recovery as it is today. I am forever grateful for November 25th, 2017. That is the day that from that day on, I have not had a drink on weekends, holidays, nothing. I don't drink anymore, and I'm okay with that. I live a good life today. My life today is better. My worst day in sobriety is better than my best day as an alcoholic. I'm going to repeat that. My worst day in sobriety is better than my best day as an alcoholic. There is no comparison. There is just when I tell you, no comparison. But many people are suffering in silence. They're afraid, they're ashamed, they don't know, they're fearful, they don't know how to start, where to begin. It's not easy. It's not easy because the alcohol is gone, but I'm still Bridget. But that Bridget that I was when I was drinking is not the same Bridget that I am today. But that takes work and effort and energy and support and the goodness and the grace and the mercy and blessings from my Heavenly Father and my friends praying for me. It takes work to stay sober, but I'd rather be sober any day than to be back in my addiction. I had a dream the other night that I was out drinking, and I was like, "Whoo, Lord, thank you, Jesus." When I wake up, I'm almost like in panic mode because I'm like, "Oh God, I'm glad this is a dream." But that's part of the process. I don't have them like I used to, and I don't have them very often. And I've always used to crack jokes, and they say, "Well, enjoy that dream because that's the only time you are going to have a drink." But I'm grateful. I am forever grateful for being an alcoholic, because without being an alcoholic, I don't think I would have the quality of life that I have now. Because again, alcoholism was not the problem. It was my solution to the issues that I have and still deal with. But now I have tools and resources that I can use to sustain me, because they don't go away overnight. And I have 31, 32 months of sobriety, but I still have some of the same things running around in my mind like I had when I was 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's just now that I know how to handle them. I know who to go to. And I go to God. I go to Jehovah God. That is my lifeline. That's what sustains me, and that's what keeps me. Do you believe that being an alcoholic brought you to your purpose? Yes, I do. I remember going to therapy early on for the death of my nephew. And I remember telling my therapist that I felt like a baby in a bed, and I could see the mobile with all the beautiful animals and gadgets turning around above me. And I would reach up to grab it, and I would have it in my hand. And when I pulled my hand down and opened it up, it was empty. And that's how I felt about a lot of things in my life. I used to, compare myself. Well, she's good at this, and he's good at this, and they're good at this. And, I would see everybody else doing this, that, and the other. And I would always wonder, what is your purpose? And what are you supposed to be doing? And how are you able, what are you going to do with your life other than just go to work and earn a paycheck and pay your bills? What is your passion? And then I came across this. And like I said, it's like the pieces of a puzzle. They've been floating around in my mind for years. And when I started my path of recovery, I was able to put those pieces. God was able to help me. Let me go back. Jehovah God was able to help me put those pieces together and start to frame that puzzle. Now, there's still some pieces floating around out there, but I have a pretty solid foundation, and as I continue to build and strengthen it, it'll get stronger and they'll fall into place. So yes, I think that alcoholism helped me find my purpose, and for that I'm forever grateful. Where did you get the tools from besides God? There are many. You can do therapy. There are many treatment plans. Um, um, Therapists use different types of treatment, and I'll post some information about that, Sarah. You have Alcoholic Anonymous, which I am a member of. And there are other programs out there and other resources that you can use. And I'll post a list and I'll send it to you via message. Okay, I'm looking at the clock and I have about 3 or 4 minutes. Please share, 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 share. I'm going to share this video on my page as soon as I finish. Please go in and give me your feedback. Give me your feedback on what you think are topics you'd like to discuss at future times. This is the end of Sober Saturday for the month of July. As I said, please share your email address with me so that I can send you emails about other projects and things that I'm doing, because I do have some more things coming out. I'm going to post something on my page that I got from a friend of mine, and it is an article written by Jehovah's Witness. And I respect them and love them because their information is reader friendly, scripture based from beginning, middle, and end, and it gives you a lot of information. It is way too much for me to read and go over, but I'm going to post the link on my page, and it's called Alcohol Consumption. How can you stay in control? And it talks about what is moderate alcohol consumption, signs that alcohol use is becoming alcohol abuse, 5 tips to help you control your alcohol consumption. And with everything going on in the world today, for many people that did not drink or haven't been, they may have been in alcohol use, they may be treading into that line of alcohol abuse. So I'm going to post that, and I love it because it's scripture, biblical scripture from the Bible based. So I don't care what Bible you're reading from. It's the Bible, the meaning of it is the same, you know, if you understand what you're reading and doing your research. But it's a very good article. It's reader friendly and it's very helpful. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for taking this journey with me. I love you. And this is the end of Sober Saturday, only for the month of July. I will be back. Thank you for your prayers and your support. Please send me your email address if you have anything that you need to talk about, or you need help with something that you're dealing with, or with someone that's dealing with alcoholism or alcohol abuse. Reach out to me and I will do whatever I can to help you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And all of the information and resources that I discussed today will be on my page. Bridget Bass, Sobriety Coach. Thank you.